Evil Planet.
Oh man, fucking sickos.
All right, you
Fucking
guys,
sicko. We gotta
are
get
y'all
into this.
ready to get started?
Yeah. So, the first story that we have here today, we actually have like a couple of articles about this because this is a pretty serious thing. The first article we have here from Wired is titled, Age Verification Laws Send VPN Use Soaring and Threaten the Open Internet.
On your mark, get set. We're riding on the internet.
What they did on the internet was so frustrating because they forced everyone to go to these like aggregate sites, these large platforms, and then they made all the large platforms shit. I feel like people are going to start going back to like smaller websites or like random websites now for different things. They're
Yeah.
making it like that. They're going to destroy the internet like Cyberpunk. We're going to have the internet part 2 soon. They're going to kill internet 1 and make it broken. Then they're going to make like the satellite internet.
I mean, I've heard we're already kind of like living through dead internet theory, right? Because like, think someone I don't know exactly who, so like, you know, you can fact check this, but like half of all traffic online is like bots or something.
I've heard that, and the thing is too, when you think of traffic, people think of very specific things, but a lot of what that is bots scraping websites for information,
Posting.
data scraping in general. Yeah, posting is a portion of that. Like I have websites that probably like only bots visit because they're just visiting every website and like scraping information and shit, right? Like
Yeah.
I'll see like my websites get like hundreds of visitors per month, but a lot of that is probably just bots, data scraping, random tools and AI. You know, that's kind of what they're talking about. But very specific sites have wildly different amounts of fake visitors, not just visitors, but also fake posts as well. From what I've seen, Twitter is the worst. About 3/4 of all traffic posting activity on Twitter, or X, you might call it if you're a fucking tool, 75% of it is fake.
I always forget that Blue Sky exists. I never use it. I mean, I don't use standard Twitter either.
I use Blue Sky, but it is pretty dead for the most part. I mean, there are a lot of people on there posting, but a lot of it can be narrowed down to like people self-advertising, people posting adult content, people posting political content, and then like stuff that would be on Twitter, but you know, they left because it's a shithole now. All the fucking Nazi posting and whatnot. The fact that they don't do moderation anymore unless you post like CP and they're like, okay, let me get it out of here because it's illegal. But then like, you know, people just harassing people and posting like disgusting fucking racial diatribes are like, oh yeah, thanks for this report. We've investigated and a 1488 N-word rapist is actually not violating any of the rules. Sorry. It's like, what? Excuse me? What? But, you know, that's just every day on Twitter now. They just don't moderate their platform.
Well, you know, Grok, you know, calling himself Mecha Hitler.
Yeah, dude, Grok went on tirades talking about how, like, you remember Linda Yaccarino? I don't know if you know about her, but she was like the Twitter CEO for a hot minute under Elon Musk. And then she's like, okay, guys, I'm leaving. Thanks. She tried to do like a professional like exit. And then randomly Grok, I don't know what the context was, but he was writing like fantasies about like sexually assaulting her. It's very disturbing.
Jesus Christ.
Writing diatribes about like raping specific journalists and stuff. Like it's fucked up. And that was in between like the Mecha Hitler stuff.
I thought that they like tried like Elon was fucking around with it.
He was. That's why this stuff happened, because he basically ripped open Grok's computer brain and then injected like brain rot poison into it.
He
and
plugged
then is like
himself into Grok.
Yeah, he plugged himself into Grok like the Matrix, and they're jacking in.
That, like, I'm looking at Linda Yaccarino right now, and do you think that Elon had a crush on her?
Maybe. I don't know. It's very possible. Elon's been up in the DMs of like dozens, possibly hundreds of women. Like, can I please put a baby in you? It's like, what
Hey,
are you
sexy,
doing, dude?
how are you?
XD hard eyes.
Can I interest you in a horse? All right, hold up. This always happens. Hold up. We're digressing from this article. Let me get into this. So, a law requiring UK internet users to verify their age to access adult content has led to a huge surge in VPN downloads and has experts worried about the future of free expression online. By the way, this is coming to America. YouTube says it's going to do this now with you having to like upload your ID in the US. I don't know how far reaching it is. I don't know if they're gonna, fucking. I don't know if they're gonna try and do like take backsies on it now that there's all this backlash, but we'll see.
I've heard a lot of people say that if YouTube starts making them upload their driver's license just to view content, that they're just not going to use YouTube anymore.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I'll
With-
move somewhere else.
With tools like YTDLP and stuff, where you can just like rip stuff straight from YouTube without them trying to like block it, because it's kind of like, I don't know if they said it's like client based or whatever. I use it. I don't fully understand it, but you can just get the links and be like, rip everything. People can just rip YouTube videos and like re-upload them onto other servers. And, they might like try and make money off of it too. Like YouTube is fucking itself over with this shit. Let me read from the article. After the United Kingdom's Online Safety Act went into effect on Friday, requiring porn platforms and other adult sites to implement user age verification mechanisms, use of virtual private networks, aka VPNs, and other circumvention tools spiked in the UK. Experts had expected the surge, given that similar trends had been visible in other countries that have implemented age check laws. But as a new wave of age check regulations debuts, open internet advocates warn that the uptick in use of circumvention tools in the UK is the latest example of how an escalating cat and mouse game can develop between people looking to anonymously access services online and governments seeking to enforce content restrictions. I'll say this quickly too. I saw people post screenshots of like, how you can see the top apps on like certain like, Apple App Store or whatever. All of the top apps, VPN, free VPN, new VPN, Death Stranding mobile game. And the reason that people were using that, as we'll get into in a bit, is because the photo mode in the game or the app or whatever is so hyper realistic with the models, the character models in the game, that people were taking screenshots and photos of it and using it to bypass the verification laws, because some of the verification tools on these platforms use facial recognition to determine how old you are. I might as well just read that here because it's a very short blip that we have. This is from Gadget Guy. Video game thwarts UK age verification, Australia likely to follow. The UK has rolled out online age verification, as we were talking about, in a bid to prevent children from accessing harmful content, but it's already faced a problem. Users have already sidestepped the age verification process thanks to the latest Death Stranding game. Sites and online platforms like Reddit and Discord now require users in the UK to verify their age. The process involves scanning a user's face via a phone camera or uploading a form of photo ID. Some rather industrious folks have tried scanning the face of Death Stranding 2's protagonist to see if it would pass the age check. Long story short, it did. The quirky video game workaround is viewed as an example of the unreliability of age verification technology. Combine that with a surge in VPN popularity in the UK, and it's clear that people will try all manner of workarounds to get around this technology. With Australia set to implement similar age verification techniques, expect a similar scenario to play out locally.
So Death Stranding 2. I haven't played Death Stranding 2, but I've played Death Stranding 1. And my girlfriend, she was watching me play, and she was like, "Is that Norman Reedus? Man, this game looks so realistic." And whenever you're resting in Death Stranding, you can go up to a mirror, and you can have Norman Reedus like do poses and stuff. But apparently it gets more like in depth in the new Death Stranding 2 game. Apparently you can have the character like pat their head or like open their mouth or something, do just bizarre shit. And they're using like the CAPTCHA, like the face capture. The face capture will say, "Hey, open your mouth for me." Yeah. And they're just using like the Death Stranding characters to do that.
Yep.
It's wild.
The Online Safety Act requires that websites hosting blah, 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 blah. Yep. I hate that they always have to restate these things a million times. Some of the checks can include ID documentation checks. For proponents of the law, there is progress to point to as well. The UK's communication regulator Ofcom says that more than 6,600 porn websites have introduced age checks so far. This is so stupid. They're talking about how there's progress, and it's like the progress is that we required all these sites to do a age check thing, and they're doing it. That's not progress. That's you implementing a law and a bunch of companies falling in line. Like, the only reason that they think that this is progress is that they think that this is actually like protecting kids when it's not. And the thing is, we need to talk about this for a sec, because this is what this boils down to at the fucking bottom of all of this. parents need to be relied upon to parent. Like, society shouldn't have to fucking suffer and have to deal with all this bullshit because parents can't take their kids' devices and, block these sites. And, if that's too much trouble, you can't do that. Just wait until the kids are older to give them a device. Like, it's not that complicated. I'm sorry. Like, you can go out and get, like, a dumb phone, like a cell phone that you can't access the internet with, and give it to a kid and be like, hey, if there's emergencies, use this. They can still text their friends with that, Like, it's not the end of the fucking world. A kid doesn't need access to social media when they're like 12, 13, or even, I would say 14, Like, maybe when they get to be 15, 16, start introducing more of that shit to them. You can teach them about that shit when they're younger, too, so they're not totally, like, left out of the fucking loop on how to deal with this shit. But,
Plus, like,
there's different ways of doing this.
People were looking at, like, pornography before the internet, too, by the way.
Yeah, it's
like,
true.
The old trope of, oh, I found my dad's Playboy, he,
Yeah.
Or actually, the first time I ever saw like porn ever was I was at school and I had like a Samsung slide phone, and someone Bluetoothed me a short video that was like two people fucking, and it was very grainy. Picture quality was awful, but it was there.
Yeah.
Never went on the internet, never went to any like website, anything like that ever. And I was still able to get it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I understand where these politicians are coming from on some very basic level, where it's like we need to have regulations in place to make sure that it's, harder for kids to access this stuff. Like, I get it. I'm not going to argue like just fucking have at it. But what I can say is that this shit is just ridiculous. Like, putting the onus on pretty much all of society to do your job for you as a parent. I just hate this shit. And it goes into one thing. Yeah, you can definitely make the case for that. But one thing that I really hate that's just undeniable, like that's just inarguable, is that everything now is being made kid friendly. And I'm not complaining about like necessarily just online platforms. Like, adult spaces in real life are being decimated to make way for like, this bar that's friendly for kids, a casino where you're allowed to take your kids. Like, back in the day, there used to be way more spaces that were for adults only. And I think that's something that's very important, and it's something that's missing these days. And, like, back in the day, like, I remember being a kid when the internet was still a lot newer. Like, I was not allowed to go to certain websites, and if I was caught doing that shit, I would have my fucking, internet, whatever, all that computer taken away. And I feel like these days, like, parents are just such fucking pushovers that they just give in way too easily. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta have some fucking conviction and you gotta have some principles. And I feel like a lot of people just don't. Like, they have to be, like, motivated by some horrible thing happening or by somebody shaming them to actually, like, do something or think about what they're doing. I don't know. Like, I don't want to speak too much more on it because, like, I've never been a parent, but I've known people over the years who have been, in similar age ranges to me, maybe a little bit older, slightly younger, and they've had kids. And, like, one thing that's definitely a huge problem that's outside of what we've discussed recently is like how busy everyone is these days, how overworked everyone is these days. And I can understand that, having less time to, do these things when it comes to being a parent. But that's something that you kind of have to really like work towards or work away from if you're going to or going to not have children. Like, you have to think about these things. You have to put yourself in a good position. And I just, like, I've known certain people where I've seen them, I've known them before they've had kids. I've seen them randomly like have a kid when they didn't even really want one. And then how it's like these things start happening, right? Where like the kid starts getting neglected or whatever. And it's just like, fuck, man. Like, there's so many of these different problems from like different angles, but I don't know. One thing I can say is that I've never seen any of these people that have had kids in my proximity not have enough time here and there to where if they have a device for a kid, just go and look up like, oh, how do I block these sites? Do this, do that, whatever. Or just like not give that kid a piece of technology that can do that. Yeah. Like I said with the dumb phones, like if you're going to give a kid a phone, they need to contact you and shit. Just give them a fucking flip phone with a slide out keyboard, or whatever.
Yeah. Like, I asked my, my sibling, like, hey, why are you giving, these young kids who are like, what age do you think is appropriate to give a child a cell phone? Because when I got my first cell phone, I was like 12, 13 years old.
I was gonna say 12 or 13, but I would give them a dumb phone. I would give them a cell phone that cannot access the internet like that.
Yeah, something with minutes.
Yes. Yeah, something that you can hard limit in terms of what they can access and what they can do with it, and like like that was around the time that I got a phone like that too. Even though nicer phones existed, like smartphones, they were very early smartphones, But my parents were like, okay, you're getting older, you're like 12, 13 years old. I was going out like taking the bus to school and back and doing shit like that. So it made sense for me to have a cell phone in case anything happened. But that's what I'm saying. It's like, you don't have to give them a fucking brand new iPhone. It's just stupid. They don't need that. That's what I'm saying too. Like, people just don't think about what they're doing with this type of shit a lot. Like, kids are also very precocious. So like, I don't know. I've definitely seen some parents where it's like they're talking to their kids and it's like, why are you talking to your kid like they run your shit? Like, you can just be like, fuck off. Like, I'm your parent. Like, don't give me this attitude. It's like an old comedy skit with like, fuck you, mom and dad. And like, oh, little Timmy, he says the darndest things. It's like, no, you got to do something about that when they start doing that shit. They start whining at you because they don't have an iPhone. Just fucking, you got to bring them back down to earth,
To show little Timmy who's boss.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can give kids, like, for example, I've said this stuff too. I don't want to dwell on this too much longer, but I'll read more of this article in a sec. But like, you can introduce a kid to video games without giving them access to like the fucking internet. You can give them a cell phone without giving them access to the internet. Like, a lot of the time, the problem is when they're on the internet and social media and stuff like that. You can give them a fucking Game Boy and they can play a game and they'll be happy with it, especially when they're younger, because they don't fucking know any better. They know what you give them. You know what I mean? When they start going to school and other kids start introducing shit into their head, that's another story. But give them a fucking PlayStation. Yeah, that's something that becomes more of a problem over time. You know what I mean? But you can learn to adapt and deal with these things as a parent. Like, I've introduced stuff like this to like people I know, and they're like, "Oh, it's a good idea." But you know what I mean? Like, give them dumb older technology as they're younger, and like transition them more into like more advanced technology as they get older. It's a good way to like teach them. It's a good way to not overwhelm them as well.
Something easy you could do is like you get like a Raspberry Pi, and you could just put an emulator on there loaded full of pirated games.
You can give them an Xbox 360. It plays a bunch of games. You can have fun with it. But those things can't even access the internet anymore, I think, because Xbox Live doesn't exist. Like, there's all these different things that you can do if you're resourceful and you actually like research and think about it. But, a lot of parents don't want to. Just, oh yeah, give my kid an iPhone or whatever. Give my kid an iPad, so they shut the fuck up.
Yeah, but used to like, oh, I'm gonna buy like a PS1. You can't like talk to like random strangers online or use an online browser with it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. It's a lot different now. You could buy a game and pop it in and play it right away. You didn't have to fucking update the console, update the driver. We have a newer version of the thing for this game. Let me update it. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Oh, this game has to install on the disc. Oh, now it's actually installing.
I miss those times. You just pop a game in and play.
So I'm glad to be a Zoomer.
Me and Trip have talked about this quite a lot lately. Like, we've been playing like a lot of like older shit. Like, I've been playing a lot of like Xbox 360 lately, and it's nice to just like, pop in a game and it fucking plays.
Yeah.
And there's no bullshit.
Yeah, I was playing my fat PS2, and I picked up a copy of Metal Gear Solid 2 at a game shop, right? A used game shop, and this is before I ever even played MGS2.
Yeah, the last two games I picked up, not super recently. One was more recent, but I got the Bully Scholarship Edition. I haven't played it yet.
Oh, hell yeah.
Too.
I've heard it's
great. I got that game not too long ago. It is, yeah.
I was playing an emulated version of it for the PS2.
You can get it on PC.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Through
Steam.
Rockstar?
On Steam, I think. I don't know if they have it on their shitty-ass client. God, fuck Social Club.
Rockstar client. I'm so glad I've never used that.
I have it.
It's dog shit. Like, one time someone fucking stole my account, right?
What?
So I couldn't play a game, but I mean, my Steam was tied to it, so I just sent them an email saying, hey, someone fucking stole my account, and
Seems great for that, yeah.
yeah, so they were able to reset that.
The other one I got recently was Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare. I've been playing that recently. That one's fun as fuck.
I still need to play through like the entirety of RDR1 because I just haven't.
I've never played it either. I had the opportunity to get Red Dead Revolver. I was going to buy it before the Xbox 360 store closed down, but I didn't end up getting it. I was sad.
Dated.
I just wanted to check it out. Like, one of the ones I bought before it closed was Just Cause 1. And that one's actually like
Just
not
Cause
very,
1 is sick.
I didn't
not
like it
good.
at all. It's definitely fascinating to see like what preceded like Just Cause 2 and 3, but just compared to Just Cause 2, it's like the first
dated or
it's like Sniper Ghost Warrior 1 compared to Sniper Ghost Warrior 2. You would just never play the first one when you have the second one and like the newer ones. It's like playing like the original Grand Theft Auto, like the top down.
the top down ones.
Yeah,
I tried playing them and
it's
they're all right, but yeah, they're
Yeah.
really dated in comparison to the 3D games.
Exactly. It's one of those ones where it's like it's not a bad game per se, but like it's just completely overshadowed by the sequels, and there's no real reason to play it other than to kind of like check it out and be like, yeah. I played it. I've kind of experienced like
Get that
the whole
90s
series.
vibe.
Oh yeah, like the first Just Cause game. If you ever get the chance to play it, and then play the second one right after, and you're like, oh my god, crazy how much it advanced within like one fucking sequel.
Shit. Red Dead Redemption's available to buy.
Yeah, I think you can get it on Steam and Social Club. It's overpriced.
Yeah, it's $50 for when did this
first
game
one?
came? It's a
15
PS
years ago.
Yeah, it's a PS3 game.
Man, May
Which
of 2010.
Oh shit, I just seen this. Back to the article. Speaking of Xbox, Microsoft has even started rolling out voluntary age checks for Xbox users in the UK.
Oh my fucking god.
What?
Dude, the future is just depressing.
I like how this is the next line, but even if this movement is satisfactory for now, digital rights advocates point out that normalizing such mechanisms creates the possibility that they will be enforced more aggressively in the future. No. Wait, you guys think so? You really think that they would do that?
All the more reason to just like, play old shit.
Exactly, yeah. They
You
can't
don't have to
they
deal
can't
with
fuck
those,
it over.
Exactly.
You can't kill the old shit because the old shit doesn't usually like rely on like in-game servers, and
Yeah.
also you can just easily pirate it. So
Emulate it.
Yeah.
Daniel Kahn Gilmore, a senior staff technologist at the American Civil Liberties Union, is quoted as saying, "I think people just want to show that we can make some progress on this without thinking about what the consequences of the progress will be.
It's no progress. It's going backwards.
Don't think about what the consequences of this will be. We'll just force it through."
well, who the fuck is calling for any of this to actually happen?
I can tell you exactly who. It's a couple of fucking organizations. One is called Collective Shout, and they're behind why Steam had to introduce Rule 15 lately. Have either of you heard about this?
No.
Payment
No.
processors essentially control anything that is on Steam now.
So no more porn games.
A bunch of them
no
got
more
removed. Yeah, several thousand games
Wait.
got removed. Yeah,
That's right. Yeah, I did hear about this actually.
Is Sex with Hitler gone?
maybe, I don't know. A lot of them got fucking removed. Like, say what you want about the content of the games, but everything on there was legal, and that's what this huge controversy is about now, because MasterCard and Visa have been forced to make public statements because people have been calling them like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you trying to fuck with what we have access to online in terms of like games and entertainment and everything? And they're trying to fucking run and do cover now, these payment processors. These high up organizations are basically pressured by special interest groups, and one of them being Collective Shout. They're all basically moralizing fucking awful organizations that are just like, oh, think of the kids, but then behind the scenes they're trying to get all porn, anything adult banned, like across the board. And they've been going to these card companies, they've been going to these payment processors and pressuring them. And basically, they've had to pull a bunch of stuff behind the scenes, and they're also playing this game of like telephone, where MasterCard and Visa didn't go to Steam directly and tell them you have to pull this shit, but they went to like in between processors and told them You have to get Steam to stop this shit. And then those processors had to go to Steam and tell them, hey, we were told you need to stop this shit. But then Steam, when they tried to go and Valve, I should say, when they went and tried to go and actually talk directly with like MasterCard and Visa and all these companies, they got immediately stonewalled. And they have not been communicating with them. It's a clusterfuck.
Okay. I posted this in the chat. Sex with Hitler is still safe. You can still buy
Oh my
it on
god,
Steam.
what the fuck is this? Does Hitler have boobs there?
Yes, Hitler has boobs
What
and
is
a
this?
mustache, and you can see his dick poking out
Futanari, Hitler.
while Hitler gets pegged.
Okay, so Futanari Hitler is not banned yet. Who knows
recent
how much
reviews-
longer it's safe for?
The recent reviews are very positive, and the all views are also very positive.
Developed and published by Adolf Games.
Hold on, there's more Sex with Hitler games. Like there's Sex with Hitler 3D.
Oh god.
I like how there's an Adolf Games franchise section there.
I like how it's
there's
posted
Sex
in
with Hicks. Hold on. There's Sex with Hitler 2069.
Is it Robo Hitler? Is it Mecha Hitler? Is it featuring Grok?
Is it Grok?
No, here, let me post this.
Oh Jesus!
It's like a cyberpunk knockoff.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay. All right. Enough sex with Hitler. We have to read some more of this. We do know that there are some things that you can do to help kids have a better relationship with digital tools, and that involves having an adequate social support network. It involves listening when kids run into problems and make sure that they have functional emotional relationships with adults who can respond to them. But why do they always say this shit instead of saying, hey, parents, moderate what your kids are looking at and fucking lock down their devices? Why do they never say that shit? Like, it's like parents aren't expected to do this shit. They just fucking, like, they're not expected to parent. Oh, fucking, it pisses me off.
It's the new standard.
Oh my god, dude. Just fucking parenting on autopilot.
Literally, yeah.
According to Sensor Tower estimates, iOS devices have seen a greater spike in VPN downloads in the UK as downloads across the selected VPN apps are up an average of 100% day over the past 4 days on iOS, versus a 5% day-over-day increase for Android devices. Multiple VPN makers have also reported spikes in visitors and signups in recent days. In a post on X on Friday, Proton VPN claimed that just a few minutes after the Online Safety Act went into effect last night, Proton VPN signups originating in the UK surged by more than 1,400%. They said that there has been a sustained 1,800% increase in daily signups. It's so funny, too, because it's like, we have introduced this new law. We're making great progress. Everyone just downloads a VPN and instantly bypasses it. Nord Security, the company behind NordVPN, says that it has seen a 1,000% increase in purchases of subscriptions from the UK since the day before the new laws went into effect. People living under repressive governments that impose extensive internet censorship, like China, Russia, and Iran. They've long relied on circumvention tools like VPNs and other technologies to maintain anonymity and access blocked content. But as countries that have long claimed to champion the open internet and access to information, like the United States, begin considering or adopting age verification laws meant to protect children, the boundaries for protecting digital rights online quickly becomes extremely murky. Quote, there will be a... Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but can we look at the list that they, like, at the beginning of the paragraph? People live under repressive governments that impose extensive internet censorship, like China, Russia, and Iran. Who wrote this?
So this was from Wired. Yeah.
Okay.
It was written by Matt Burgess and Lily Hay Newman.
Okay, I'm not going to say that, like, Russia, China, and Iran are not repressive governments, right? Like, in my opinion, like every fucking government is, you know, repressive to, you know, some extent, but like that just feels like it was targeted, you know, just those three countries just put together, right?
Well,
I feel
those
like
those are the three big bad enemies of the United States right now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because the more that this kind of shit happens, and especially when it comes to the US, the less and less leg the US has to stand on to point at other countries and say, you're authoritarian, you're repressive. It's like, and you're not? YouTube announced last Tuesday that it will begin to use artificial intelligence to estimate the ages of users in the US in order to show them age-appropriate content. The rollout of the new feature comes one day after Australia's government announced it would ban children under 16 from using YouTube, and less than a week after the UK implemented sweeping age checks on content on social media. YouTube's AI age verification on its home turf indicates it is putting into place a form of compliance with the Australian and UK requirements, despite its persistent opposition to age check requirements. Over the next few weeks, we'll begin to roll out machine learning to a small set of users in the US to estimate their age, so that teens are treated as teens and adults are treated as adults, wrote James Besser, Director of Product Management for YouTube Youth, in a blog post. YouTube was promised an exemption from Australia's social media ban last year by the then Communications Minister, but the Australian government said on Monday that the platform would, in fact, be included in the country's ban on children under 16 using social networks. The ban is slated to take effect in December. Google, YouTube's parent company, strenuously advocated against the Australian ban and has threatened to sue to overturn it. By testing the new AI tools in the US, the platform's second largest market after India, YouTube is following the example of other tech companies who have, in some cases, followed tightened privacy regulations in the past by implementing stricter mandates for all their users. In the US, California often functions as a de facto tech regulator, both by virtue of playing host to many of Silicon Valley's biggest players and by passing stricter regulations than other states. Like Australia and the UK, some states in the US passed age verification laws targeting social media sites, though these have not been interpreted as applying to YouTube. When YouTube determines a user is teen or preteen, the site will disable personalized advertising, activate digital well-being features, and put stricter content filters as well as behavioral restrictions into place. So, back in the day when you used to just click a thing to tell YouTube that you're over 18, those days are now over. They're going to be scanning your face. What a fucking dystopia, man. Christ.
Yeah, the
That's
whole
wild.
think of the children thing as just a ploy to make things more strict basically online.
Tryptamine, I have no idea what you're talking about. Anyways, let's look at this article that has absolutely nothing to do with the previous story that we looked at. UK police use controversial AI tool that looks at people's sex lives and beliefs. Senior MPs and privacy campaigners have expressed alarm at the deployment of Palantir's AI-powered crime-fighting software with access to sensitive personnel information. British police forces have signed contracts with a controversial US tech giant to buy AI-powered software that uses data about an individual's race, sex life, health, and political beliefs, it can be revealed. An internal police memo obtained by the iPaper and Liberty Investigates confirms an intention to nationally apply the Nectar intelligence system created by Palantir, currently deployed as a pilot by the Bedfordshire Police Force after being deployed with Silicon Valley data analysis group Palantir. The document obtained under Freedom of Information rules shows how the Palantir system is designed to bring together dozens of existing law enforcement databases into a single computing platform to draw up detailed profiles of suspects, as well as collate information on victims of crimes, witnesses, and vulnerable individuals, including children. So they're just trying to create a net as big as possible and catch everybody's information. And if they can't catch everybody's information, then they're going to try and catch the information of as many people as possible. Children, victims of crimes, witnesses of crimes, suspects. They're going to have people who have already committed crimes, of course. 34-day briefing, which deals with data protection issues related to Nectar and the police in Bedfordshire, makes clear the ambition of senior officers for the system to be used across policing, including in the fight against serious organized crime. It states, the primary goal is to help Bedfordshire, as well, is it Bedfordshire or Bedfordshire? Whatever. As well as the Eastern Region Serious Organized Crimes Unit, and eventually apply Nectar nationally. This will develop tools to better protect vulnerable people by preventing, detecting, and investigating crimes. The crime-fighting tool is the latest manifestation of the government's push to harness artificial intelligence to improve the performance of cash-strapped public services, from the health service to defense, with the help of private sector players such as Palantir. But the use of the technology to access vast amounts of police data, including sensitive personal information, has alarmed senior MPs and campaigners, with one former cabinet minister calling for Nectar to be scrutinized by Parliament. The system is already in use by the Bedfordshire Force, with a similar one understood to be under development by, oh Jesus Christ, how do you pronounce this? Hold up. Google, help me out. How to pronounce this?
All right. Before it happens, like Leicestershire.
I'm gonna say Leicestershire.
Leicestershire. Okay.
You have a guess, Tryptamine, based on this spelling? You can read it.
Leicestershire.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's Leicestershire.
Leicestershire.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Leicestershire. Okay. Jesus Christ, England. I mean, my family's from there, and I still don't understand what the fuck's going on here. It could be used to target persons suspected of having committed or being about to commit a criminal offense.
Wait,
So this-
about to commit a criminal
This is
offense.
Minority Report. Minority Report. They're trying to do pre-crime predictions. So basically, they can collect information on anybody because they could say, "Oh, we think you're about to commit a criminal offense, or you're suspected of having committed an offense." They can just spy on everyone, collect information on everyone. This is crazy. Palantir software proposal for police. Here we go. They want to eventually apply it nationally. It will. Will special category data be used in the proposal? I don't know if is this everything that's included? Hold up. Race, political opinions, religion, genetic data, sexual orientation, philosophical beliefs, ethnicity, sex life, trade union membership, biometric data, and health. Isn't health information private? Isn't a lot of this information supposed to be private?
Medical information is supposed to be private, but I guess
What?
if you you start talking about stuff like I'm overweight, I guess that could be considered health information, or my blood type is AB positive or whatever.
Okay, look at this. What categories of data subject are involved? Persons suspected of having committed or being about to commit a criminal offense, persons convicted of a criminal offense, persons who are or may be, the wording here is crazy, persons who are or may be victims of a criminal offense, witnesses or other persons with information about offenses, snitches, witnesses, children or vulnerable individuals, employees, current and former. What does that even mean? Employees, current and former. Employees of what? Like, if
I
you're
don't
just
know.
an employee of a business, they can index your information. Is this employees of the police force? This is very
I
strange.
think it's just general, like, hey, who are you working for and for how long, stuff like that, maybe.
Maybe background check stuff. I don't know. It's a little unclear. Let me just read this and then we'll move on because we got some other stuff to talk about quick. A home office source acknowledged that the experience gathered by forces using the Nectar pilot scheme would be used to assess the effectiveness of the system in comparison with potential alternatives, but underlined that no decision has yet been taken to deploy the Palantir system nationally. The police memo states that Nectar will, quote, require and be used to access, end quote, 11 different types of special category information held on an unspecified number of individuals. This information includes race, political opinions. Yeah, we already read this. Palantir and Bedfordshire police have insisted that the AI software will only access existing information held by law enforcement agencies, and no police data will be routinely accessible to police staff. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to work out like that.
What I feel like they're doing is they're using like child restrictions on social media. They want to start with kind of experimenting with like making things more strict for kids first before they do it for everyone. For like adults and stuff.
This is the pilot program.
Yeah, them saying that they're trying to protect children, it's just a fucking ploy to like.
That is O as a Trojan horse. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it called? I pretty much never take people seriously when they do that. Think of the children shit, unless it's something that is directly and like immediately affecting kids. Because then obviously it's like, okay, that makes sense. But this stuff where it's like, oh no, we have to make every single fucking online platform a dystopian hellscape where you have to submit your ID to the government and these private organizations just to fucking jerk off to something. Or even just to go on YouTube. Or one thing that we've seen too is that Spotify is introducing this in certain places. You can't even go on Spotify and like listen to music or a podcast without submitting your ID. It's fucking ridiculous.
The future is just dreadful because I think it's going to happen. I can't see what would really stop it. I don't know.
People need to fucking stand up for this shit. Like,
Yeah.
people need to like legitimately like start actually giving a fuck. I've mentioned this before, but this attitude of like, oh, I don't watch the news. I don't pay attention to any of this stuff. I just kind of go about my life and, blissful ignorance. This needs to stop. Like it needs
Yeah,
people need to
it's-
develop a civic sense when it comes to like actually paying attention to what's going on
That-
around them.
Yeah, because that mentality, it's like part of the fucking problem. It's like, you know.
Yeah. You have a bunch of fucking adults living in La La Land watching fucking Marvel movies on reruns, and they're like, I don't want to watch the news. It's too depressing. Like, yeah, that's fucking real life, bro.
Yeah, reality's depressing. Like,
Yeah, you can't just, like, it's fine to watch, like, a fucking goofy movie once in a while or, like, enjoy yourself, but you can't just be, like, mainlining Harry Potter fan fiction and heroin and just, like, oh, I'm just gonna ignore everything. I'm just gonna live in blissful ignorance and dopamine max until I die. Like, you gotta realize what's going on around you. You gotta wake the fuck up. And you gotta find a
Yeah.
balance, you know? You can watch your
Like-
goofy cartoons, but then take a break once in a while and go watch the news as well. I don't know, man.
it's like you can only disassociate so much until like those problems are like right at your front fucking door.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Yeah, you took the words right out of your mouth. Or you took the words right out of my mouth, I should say. Yeah. Sorry, I was looking at this fucking thing here. But yeah, no, it's true. Like you can't ignore that shit. And like at a certain point, if you do, it's just gonna fucking show up like you said, right at your front door one day, and then you can't ignore it. So we got a couple of articles here. We have some kind of like Trump administration stuff. I know we talked quite a bit about that stuff in the last several episodes, so I tried to sandwich a story that we might enjoy in between two horrible stories. So let's start with the first horrible one. America is building literal concentration camps for migrants. We have an article here. Don't call it Alligator Alcatraz. Call it a concentration camp. Kind of a decent article maybe from MSNBC. They're usually pretty shit, but we'll just read a bit of this here. By Andrea Pitzer, author of One Long Night, A Global History of Concentration Camps. For many Americans, the word concentration camp evokes another country a long time ago, and a facility operating in the dark of night away from the prying eyes of an outraged public. But a new concentration camp opened in Florida's Everglades this week, and it's the opposite of a secret. President Donald Trump toured the facility with reporters in tow. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, and other officials posed with him, laughing in front of cages meant for human beings. The Florida Republican Party launched merchandise and gave the camp a nickname, Alligator Alcatraz, that the state made official. But it's not just a new prison. Can we just talk about how fucked up it is that they made the official name Alligator Alcatraz? The alligator part is like, yeah, if you leave, you're fucked because alligators will eat you. There's no like civilization around the camp. You'll just be fucking killed by wildlife.
Remember during his first term when he was trying to get the wall built, and he said that he wanted to like build a moat around the wall and fill it with like venomous snakes and alligators.
Yeah, and everybody laughed because it was so ridiculous. But I don't think it's very funny anymore.
Yeah, he got his wish.
Reality.
Yeah, Donnie Trump snapped his fingers and got his wish, and now we're all living in his fucking dream world, which is a nightmare for everyone who's not insane.
They paid $450 million to make it happen.
Yeah, fucking Elon Musk gave him like $250 million. It's not just a new prison, Alcatraz or otherwise. I visited 4 continents to write a global history of concentration camps. This facility's purpose fits the classic model: mass civilian detention without real trials, targeting vulnerable groups for political gain based on ethnicity, race, religion, or political affiliation, rather than for crimes committed, and its existence points to serious dangers ahead for the country. This camp stands apart from other immigration detention facilities for a few reasons. First, its projected capacity of 5,000 beds is several times the average detention center, though Immigration and Customs Enforcement is looking at even larger facilities. Its improvised tents and chain-link cages put detainees on display, reminiscent of El Salvador's Secot prison. I mean, I personally think that Trump is definitely heavily inspired by that. And it is billed as a temporary camp, with the theory being that the administration can seamlessly process massive numbers of detainees with rapid-fire judicial hearings by National Guard members turned immigration judges. What? I've never heard of that. What the fuck? Trump okay. This is another article from the Tampa Bay Times. We won't go too far into it, but I just want to pull this up because there's a hyperlink here. Governor Ron DeSantis for months has been trying to get the federal government to approve using guardsmen as immigration judges. Well, Trump has just okayed using National Guard as immigration judges at Florida Detention Center. What the fuck is this? They're just straight up doing like insane shit. And they're like, no, this is official proceedings now. What the actual fuck? In practice, this is unlikely to go smoothly. We're back to the MSNBC article here. While concentration camps have historical roots in earlier forms of mass detention, they themselves are very modern. The patenting and mass production of barbed wire and automatic weapons over a century ago made it possible to detain large groups with a small guard force for the first time. At the turn of the 20th century, imperial powers such as Spain and Britain set up concentration camps in colonial regions. The camps had staggering death tolls that made early systems unpopular, but World War I led to a revival of the concept, with nearly 1 million people detained globally. The wartime camps paved the way for similar systems after the conflict ended, such as the Soviet Gulag and the detention of homeless people in multiple countries. Those were all in place before the Nazis came to power, so Hitler's camps aren't the lone precedent for the Everglades project. But even the extreme case of Germany offers disturbing parallels, and not just because the Nazis also allowed reporters to tour their camps. Yeah, it's another thing that's very reminiscent of what happened with the Nazi concentration camps, is that they would fancy them up a little bit and make them look a lot nicer, and then they'd allow reporters to come in and be like, no, we're feeding them, and they're putting on plays, and it's incredible, it's actually fantastic.
But did the Nazis sell merchandise, though?
No, see, I think that's really where they fell short, is they didn't open up a gift shop in the back of fucking Auschwitz. Some defenders of current immigration policy say that arbitrary detention or abuse of foreigners isn't like what Hitler did to citizens. Years before he came to power, however, Hitler wrote of his goal of stripping German Jews of legal protection so that they could have no more rights than aliens and be put into camps. In 1935, at Hitler's behest, the German Reichstag passed the Nuremberg Laws, a focus of which was to identify German Jews and revoke their citizenship, with countless other regulations restricting them. Dreaming of a pure Aryan nation, the Nazis initially imagined their targets would self-deport. Once the myth of self-deportation collapsed, they turned to more punitive measures. On Tuesday, Noam similarly noted that the Everglades camp was meant to frighten immigrants into self-deporting. If you don't, she said, you may end up here. What will happen in the U.S. if the pressure to self-deport fails, as it did nearly a century ago? We're already seeing aggressive moves against people living in the U.S. legally. The administration is still trying to strip legal status from 500,000 Haitians who were allowed in before Trump's return. The DOJ is prioritizing cases involving the possible revocation of citizenship, working to undo birthright citizenship itself, and targeting the citizenship of political enemies. The administration wants to define who can be American in ways that appear profoundly racist, and it seems immigrants are the most politically advantageous large population to target. And there are parallels in U.S. history for these camps as well. Centuries of Indian removal and genocide set the stage for abuse of those not counted as citizens. Lawmakers and courts wielded the weight of law or executive authority to prop up slavery, allowing cross-border trafficking and detention of humans denied rights. Concentration camps holding Japanese Americans during World War II showed the U.S. government was eminently capable of unjust detention of citizens and non-citizens alike. And Trump himself has hailed Operation Wetback. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh my fucking God, man. I forgot about this. I'm remembering now. I remember hearing about this a while back. Trump himself has hailed Operation, I'm not going to read that again, a lethal, abuse-filled deportation operation carried out by Dwight D. Eisenhower's administration that included detention camps. Today in Florida, the U.S. is expanding on its own concentration camp legacy. We're seeing other clues that police state tactics are intensifying in America, such as masked agents in unmarked vehicles or without warrants who refuse to show IDs, who are sweeping people off the street. Some who vanish re-emerge. Others have been effectively disappeared. Meanwhile, the budget reconciliation bill would likely make immigration and customs enforcement, in the words of the American Immigration Council, the largest investment in detention and deportation in U.S. history. This expansion risks quickly making ICE the center of gravity for state overreach. In the Everglades Tuesday, Trump announced his interest in a multi-state network of sites like the one he came to see. Florida proposed the facility as a temporary camp for deportations, but the historical term for this kind of camp is a transit camp, and they're concentration camps too. The U.S. also has already sent detainees to El Salvador, Panama, Rwanda, and Libya, among other nations, and is in talks with dozens more countries. We are watching the imposition of a global concentration camp network. When people think of concentration camps, they think of more than 1 million people murdered in Auschwitz. But extermination camps appeared only after nearly a decade of Nazi rule and several evolutions in wartime detention. We are still in the early stages of this arc, but Americans aren't helpless before the administration and its allies. Members of the, how do you pronounce this? Is it Seminole? Do you understand, Gord, how to pronounce this? You were in Florida,
Seminole?
right? Seminole. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I was pronouncing it right. Members of the Seminole tribe of Florida are already opposing and protesting the Everglades concentration camp as a threat to sacred lands. 5 Democratic state lawmakers tried to visit the camp on Thursday but were turned away. In the face of ICE raids, many communities in LA canceled 4th of July celebrations, but activists continued their protests, including an installation of the disappeared outside of City Hall. The history of this kind of detention underlines that it would be a mistake to think the current cruelties are the endpoint. America is likely just getting started.
Yep,
Chip-
it hasn't been
Sorry,
a
go ahead.
year. It hasn't even been a year since the election happened.
Yeah,
And already,
it's a chilling article.
it is.
I think Gord may have stepped away. I'm not sure. Are you?
No,
there,
no,
Gord?
no. I've been eating,
Okay,
but I've been listening.
I could tell you
Did
were
you-
occupied with something.
Yeah. Did you hear about the attack that was on an ICE building that happened? I think it was in Texas.
I heard something about that. Yeah, I heard that some people went in and basically were just trying to
Yeah.
fuck up ICE agents.
Yeah, so they like launched fireworks outside of the facility, waited for people to come outside, and they lit them up.
That's fucking crazy, man. So this is the more positive story, I guess. That's sandwiched in between the two shitty stories. Trump diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency, White House says. U.S. President Donald Trump has been diagnosed with a common, quote-unquote, vein condition after being evaluated by his doctor over swelling in his lower legs. Caroline Leavitt said at a press briefing that an ultrasound on the president's legs revealed chronic venous insufficiency, a common condition particularly in individuals over the age of 70. And this came out shortly after people were posting photos of Donald Trump's legs. Like, what the fuck is wrong with his legs? Why do they look like
Oh,
that?
and-
Why are they so swollen?
And his hand that was obviously caked in makeup.
Caroline Leavitt said there was no evidence of more serious conditions such as deep vein thrombosis or arterial disease. Additional exams identified no signs of heart failure, renal impairment, or systemic illness, unfortunately. Leavitt said Trump was not experiencing discomfort due to the condition, which we are all saddened to hear. According to the National Library of Health's Medline Plus website, venous insufficiency is a condition in which the veins have problems sending blood from the legs back to the heart. The condition
Probably 'cause he
tends to get
hardly
worse
fucking
over
walks.
time. Oh yeah, 100%. Like he never fucking gets any real exercise.
He's sedentary.
Sitting around in the fucking Oval Office drinking Diet Cokes and watching Fox News.
How much do you want to bet?
You're so
that
right.
they're
Oh wait, no,
lying?
Tucker's not on Fox News anymore. Never mind.
How much do you want to bet that they're lying about his diagnosis?
Potentially. I mean, do you remember the fucking White House doctor in his first term who was like, listen, Trump, one of the healthiest people ever. I've never seen a president so healthy.
Yeah, 200. I think they say he was like 200 pounds, like 5% body fat or something.
He's at least 240, 250
Six.
pounds.
6'4".
I think they had him on like Ozempic for a bit because he looked like he dropped a massive amount of weight like several months back. And then I think he's just put it all back on. I think he was on Ozempic for a bit and he's like, I don't like it. I can't eat as much candy. Or no, wait, sorry, he calls it poison. I can't eat as much poison. But yeah, they're saying here the condition tends to get worse over time, so silver lining there. Let's hope and see. Here's the other horrible, disgusting article here. That's very depressing. The Constitution sections on due process and foreign gifts just vanished from Congress's website. Part of Article 1, Section 8, and all of Sections 9 and 10, which address things like habeas corpus, nobility, and militias, are now gone from Congress's website for the Constitution. This is from 404 Media. Congress's website for the U.S. Constitution was changed to delete the last 2 sections of Article 1, which include provisions such as habeas corpus, forbidding the naming of titles of nobility, and forbidding foreign emoluments for U.S. officials. So they're just trying to get rid of all this shit. They're trying to rewrite history here.
Oh, this doesn't rewrite the Constitution, though. Like, this is just dumb. Like,
This is like not controversial. It's cliche, I should say, to say this, but this is straight up like shit from 1984. Like they're trying to go back, they're trying to rewrite history, they're trying to fucking take out anything from any fucking constitution or laws or anything that will stand in the way of them doing what they want to do, which is essentially becoming god emperors who have complete control over everything that goes on in the country.
my issue with this, right, is most people aren't gonna try and like read Article 1 of the Constitution to see whether or not they have the right to due process.
Sure, but I think that's kind of missing the point, though. Like
Right.
what they're trying to do here is slow. Like this is probably just one small thing that they're going to delete, and then over time they remove more and more from other websites, and eventually there's just it's just all gone. You know what I mean?
They're preying on like fear and ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but a .gov website isn't the only place that you can find information like the full undoctored constitution.
For now, tomorrow they delete it from somewhere else. The next day after that, they remove things from archives. The next day after that, like, you know what I mean? Like, the way that this shit works at this point, think about it like this. This has just happened in the last 24 hours. I want you to keep this in mind and see how many people talk about this or anything else even remotely close, and that's one of the problems with what's going on right now with Trump flooding the zone and his administration just doing all these fucking different things at the same time, is that it's hard for people to keep up with all these different things going on. So these things slip under the radar. And if it was a lot bigger, it probably would have more trouble slipping under the radar. But because they only started removing it from here and there and one and a little bit, death by 1,000 cuts, you know what I mean? And like the reaction that you're having too kind of goes towards what I'm saying, Like, this is probably one of the first places they're removing this shit from because nobody fucking cares. It's just a website. Like you said, who's looking this up to find information about this? But, let me just read a little bit. Or, sorry, go ahead.
I guess if you're like a student, you're trying to do, if you're trying to like cite a Gov website, still.
Yeah, I mean, it's the official government resource for this information, right? Let me see here. The last full version of the webpage archived by the Internet Archive on July 17th still included the now deleted sections. This webpage, which is maintained by the U.S. government, hasn't changed significantly in the entire time it's been saved by the Internet Archive's Wayback Machine, since 6 years ago in 2019. The page for the Constitution on the National Archives website remains unchanged and shows the entire document. The removed portion begins halfway through Section 8. It includes to provide and maintain a navy, to make rules for the government and regulation of the land naval forces, and it goes on. Like, it shows so much of the stuff that's been removed. Oh shit. Well, this is one part that was removed. No state shall, without the consent of the Congress, lay any imposts or duties on imports or exports, except what may be absolutely necessary for executing its inspection laws. And the net produce of all duties and imposts laid by any state on imports or exports shall be for the use of the Treasury Department of the United States, and all such laws shall be subject to so on and so on. So, like, anything that goes against what Trump wants to do or what he wants to say, like him pushing through these tariffs or him wanting to be called fucking King Trump or whatever, they're just slowly getting rid of all this shit.
It's going to end up deleting pages.
Yep. Since the Trump administration took office, official federal government websites with public information have come under attack, being taken offline entirely or altered to reflect this administration's values. We talked about this on a previous episode where there was a government website that was set up to track like chemical spills, and the Trump administration just completely got rid of it. Because, these companies that are like dumping toxic waste are like, this makes us look bad, makes it easier to track the illegal shit that we're doing. Hey, Trump administration, we just bought $1 million of Trump coin. Can you get rid of this? And Trump's like, sure, let me do it. Just show me the Trump coin receipt.
Where are all the Republicans at that said that they value the Constitution above all?
They're all sucking Trump's dick, and they're all on the floor of the House voting for whatever Trump wants, because if they don't, Trump is going to put the spotlight on them, defame them, slander them, try to get them primaried, put a lot of pressure on them, send his followers after them. They're all a bunch of fucking cowards. It's honestly just pathetic.
Do you know who Representative Al Green is from Texas?
He's one of the good guys, right? He's one of the guys. Is he the guy that stood up and during Trump's was it
inauguration
speech? Yeah.
Yes.
And he got he got in trouble.
He did.
Yes, he's good.
And during this term, he was the first person to draft articles of impeachment against him.
Right. Yeah.
And he not too long ago, he I think he stood before the House and he spoke and he said that he he charges Netanyahu and Trump with genocide. It was fucking awesome. Like I think I posted it somewhere in the Discord.
Yeah, one thing that's
But-
interesting too is that Zoran Memdani has said that when hopefully he becomes mayor of New York, he said that if Netanyahu visits, he'll have him arrested. I love that.
Yeah,
I see the
If you
video.
could you play this like the first like minute of this video?
Sure.
It's really amazing.
And still I rise, Mr. Speaker. And I rise today, Mr. Speaker, to speak truth to power as well as speak truth about power. I rise to speak truth about what's happening to the Palestinians in Gaza. I rise to ask, what do you call it when you have a group of people who are being denied food, denied the very essence and necessities of life, when you're destroying their homes, when you're destroying their schools, when you're destroying their churches, their infrastructure? What do you call it when you do this to them as a group? Collective punishment. It is called collective punishment, Mr. Speaker. And what do you call it when you have a group of people who are being pushed around, pushed from one end of Gaza to the other, when they are literally being slaughtered as they are seeking food? What do you call it when people say that they ought to be removed from their land? You call it ethnic cleansing, Mr. Speaker. And what do you call it when it appears to me that there is a deliberate, systemic effort to destroy in whole or in part the Palestinian people, to destroy them in whole or in part? We are witnessing before our very eyes, Mr. Speaker, genocide in Gaza, and we say nothing. I am amazed at how this country that stands for liberty and justice for all, this country that has a Statue of Liberty, how this country can see what's happening in Gaza and not call it what it is. There's a fear among us. We refuse to speak truth to power. We refuse to speak truth about power. Well, today I'm going to do it. And I'm doing it because these are precious babies that are being slaughtered. You see the bodies, you see the homes, you see the infrastructure, but you say nothing? Who are we? What is wrong with us? What is going on? Well, here's what's going on. We have an authoritarian leader who is supporting another authoritarian leader. Our president, the prime minister of Israel, they are working together and they are doing this. Our president said there would be hell to pay if they did not move or if they did not surrender. Not in those exact words, but that was his intentionality. And he's talking about the people of Gaza now. I'm not talking about Hamas that did a dastardly deed. What Hamas did can never be justified. They were wrong, but you can't justify what's happening in Israel right now. It is collective punishment, it is ethnic cleansing, and it is genocide. So, Mr. President, Donald John Trump, I say to you, Mr. President, you've been trying to hide from this. But, Mr. President, you can't hide. I charge you with genocide. Mr. Netanyahu, you are the
That is so
perpetrator.
fucking awesome.
I charge you
I
with
charge you
genocide.
with genocide.
Yeah, no, it's a great speech. He's 100%
Yeah.
right too.
Yeah. Just the inflection in his voice, like everything he said's true.
He rhymed too. That was a bar.
Yes. He's got like that old like Baptist preacher energy.
Fantastic. Yeah, and he's a great speaker.
It really is. Yeah.
I'll just read this to close off what we're talking about with this article here. Since the Trump admin took office, official federal government websites with public information have come under attack. As we mentioned, we talked about some of this before. This has included critical information promoting vaccines, HIV care, reproductive health options, including abortion, and trans and gender confirmation healthcare being purged from the CDC's live website, thousands of data sets disappearing from data.gov, and the scrubbing of and the scrubbing of various documents, employee handbooks, Slack bots, and job listings across government agencies. Some deleted pages across the government were restored following a court order, but the administration then added a note rejecting gender ideology to some of them. Habeas corpus, which is among the now deleted provisions on the Constitution webpage, allows people to challenge their imprisonment before a judge. In May, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said before a congressional committee that Trump can remove the constitutional provision of habeas corpus, calling it a constitutional right that the president has to be able to remove people from this country and suspend their rights. That's like she didn't She doesn't even like. That's when they asked her, like, do you even know what habeas corpus is? And she said it's a constitutional right that the president has to be able to remove people from this country and suspend their rights. She doesn't even know what the fuck habeas corpus is. She had to be corrected by Senator Maggie Hassan. Hassan? That's incorrect. She told her it's the foundational right that separates free societies like America from police states like North Korea. The end of the article there. Man, what a fucking nightmare. We have one last story here, but I think we might save this for the next episode. It's going to fit in more with what we have to talk about next time. Holy fuck. Jesus fucking Christ. It's depressing, man.
Yeah, what did we learn today? Today we've learned that we're having to forcefully give up our driver's licenses to be able to jerk off or to be even able to like watch YouTube. We're being mass surveilled.
They're building concentration camps.
They're building concentration camps. Al
What the
Green
fuck?
charged the president with genocide,
And Netanyahu.
and Netanyahu, and
And yeah, the U.S. government is straight up publicly just doing 1984 style rewriting of history.
deleting provisions from the Constitution. Not technically like removing them from the Constitution, but removing them from
The government
where
website.
the public can from where the public can see it.
Yep. And like you said at first, like, you know, for now they're just removing some of the information from some government websites, but a couple months from now, who fucking knows how bad it's going to be. We've seen that the slippery slope fallacy is basically like a known principle of operation with the Trump administration. It's not even a slippery slope. It's like it's just a goddamn slide. It's like when that police officer tried that slide from like Chicago or whatever, and he came out the other end on his fucking ass, like hitting his face on the fucking ground. Oh god, dude, this is
It's not a slippery slope. You're literally skydiving.
yeah, it's not a slippery slope, it's a free fall from fucking outer space. Jesus Christ. Anything we want to say in conclusion for today?
Try to move away from digital media. Maybe go more towards like physical media, like DVDs, CDs, books.
I was gonna say, yeah, books, paper,
Yeah, read a book.
and someone a letter.
Yeah,
Oh god. I thought you were gonna say
Taking a
try and
picture.
move away from the US.
learn another language, preferably one that's closest to maybe learn French, learn Spanish, take a trip to Canada, take a trip to Mexico.
Learn some Mandarin Chinese just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Take a trip to Canada. See if moving to Canada would work for you.
I don't think it would.
I'm
It
just saying
really-
generally out there for everyone.
It really sucks that. Well, it sucks and it doesn't suck. You hear about the rich Americans that are just getting kicked out of like Mexico City.
No, I didn't hear about that actually.
I heard something about that. Hold on. But basically, like a bunch of like rich Americans are trying to gentrify Mexico City,
Oh god.
and the locals are not having it.
Yeah, good for them. Kick them out.
I mean, it kind of sucks because that was kind of my plan. I wasn't trying to gentrify it, I was trying to actually like learn the language and visit, but
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but I understand where they're coming from.
yeah.
In a lot of places now, if they see American tourists, they're just like, fuck off. Like, fuck out of here. Like, they will literally just start yelling at you.
I'm gonna say I'm Canadian then.
It's funny. It's funny because I was about to bring up, that's what the Americans are all
Good
doing
idea.
now. They're all putting like Canadian flags on their luggage and on their backpacks and pretending to be Canadian. Oh man, how the tables have turned. Fucking cringe ass Canadians.
Canadian.
A few years later, hey, how's it going, eh? I'm Canadian. I'm from Toronto. That's how you know somebody's not from Toronto. If they say Toronto, you say Toronto.
Toronto.
Toronto. You don't pronounce the last T. You say Toronto. When he says Toronto, it's like, it's a fake American. I'm sorry, that's a real American. Fake Canadian. I am a fake Canadian. All right. Well, another one in the bag, as they say in show business. That's what they say. They say another one in the bag.
Another one bites the dust.
Another podcast on the internet. Well, Tryptamine and Gord, thank you very much for coming on tonight.
No problemo.
All right. I'll see both of y'all later. Peace out.
All right, see y'all.
Peace.
See ya.